this important platform and channel where we discuss civic education as a global concern and prepare all our candidates in West Africa and Nigeria for the West African Examinations Council WAEC, the National Examinations Council NECO, National Board for Technical Education Board NAPTEP. It is a sure way for excellent results, and we assure our numerous candidates that you're bound to make high grades out of these examinations. And so we want to go into the lesson for today, which is captioned Citizenship Education. Citizenship Education. First of all, we want to look at the meaning of citizenship education. When we refer to citizenship education, we are looking at an education or a process of imparting morals, skills, and attitudes in an individual with a purpose of solving developmental problems and challenges of a particular country. This process teaches students their rights, their privileges, their duties and responsibilities as good citizens. And then, who is a citizen? When we talk about a citizen, we are looking at someone who has a citizenship status of a given country. That is to say that a country confers you that status of a citizen so that you constitutionally have everything that you should have as a member and part and parcel of that country. You have full rights, you have full responsibilities therein. And then if you hold a legal membership of a country, definitely you are a citizen of that country. On the other hand, you have a non-citizen who is referred to as an alien. An alien is someone that hasn't got the citizenship of a country. Maybe you have just visited, for instance, the United States of America, you have visited China, you have visited UK, or you have visited Nigeria. In such a case, you are an alien, you are a foreigner. And so an alien is a foreigner to a given state or a given environment. Now, going further, we want to look at the importance of citizenship education. Why is it important? When we look at citizenship education, how important is it and why? First of all, this is categorized numerically. Number one, citizenship education is important in the sense that it promotes understanding of the interrelationship between people, between governments, and even the society. That is to say, how you relate with people, how you relate with government, even how you relate with members of the society. That is number one point here. You have to. It highlights the structure of government. That is, structure in this sense talks about the functions of government, the paraphernalia of government, looking at the responsibilities of the people to government, and so forth and so on. So that is number 2 point, highlighting the structure of government, its functions, the responsibilities to the people, and then the responsibilities of the people to government. The number 3 point here is that it enhances teaching and learning of emerging issues, including the coronavirus, the global pandemic, including the 5G technology, and so forth and so on. Number 4, it liberates citizens from ignorance. And then number 5, it helps to create awareness on the importance of political equity and justice. Furthermore, it makes governance easier and simpler. Individuals develop high moral standard. Then it trains effective and proactive leaders. those who know what they're doing in leadership. It shapes people's values towards national interest. The 10th point here is that people acquire knowledge, they acquire skills and attitude that project them as responsible individuals in the society. If you are able to make 6, 7 out of these 10 points, certainly you are on your way to a grade. Then we come to duties and obligations of citizens to the society. What are the duties and obligations of a citizen to the society? 1. Obedience to rules and regulations. 2. Payment of taxes, rates, and levies. 3. Environmental sanitation and protection. 4. Promotion of peace. 5. Assisting law enforcement agencies to protect lives and properties. And 6. Voting during elections. These are the duties and obligations of citizens to the country or to the society. Now we come to the other part of the lesson that talks about skills. Skills that are necessary for preservation of our traditions, customs, beliefs, etc. What are those skills that should make us to preserve these traditions, customs, and beliefs? First of all, let's look at preservation. We talk about preservation of tradition and customs and beliefs. When we look at tradition, look at custom, look at belief, we are talking about our traditional accepted ways of behavior, our norms depicted in our dressing, our marriage patterns, our land ownership, our kinship and inheritance, our culture and religion, our worship methods, and so forth and so on. Take for instance Britain. Britain has a monarchical system represented by the Queen of England. And you look at the Igbo traditional cultural heritage, it has a system. You also have Yoruba. You have the Yoruba Emirate, that is the Yoruba in the south west. You have the Emirate in the south and the north. These are systems. In order to prevent the extinction, there has to be a way of preserving this. And the ways are, as we're going to mention them. The first is through federalism. I said through federalism. Through federalism. In this case, we are talking about Nigeria as a diverse ethnic nation with several diverse cultural backgrounds, 774 local governments. So other countries and other nations of the world. But in a true federal system, like Nigeria, 774 local governments, 36 states, there has to be this ethnic existence and cohesion that should allow each ethnic group to practice its unique tradition without fizzling out. That is one way of preservation. Number 2, freedom of worship. You have people worshiping anything they want to worship and anyhow they want to worship. Number 3 is promotion of traditional occupations. Number 3, promotion of traditional occupations. And then number 4, respect for traditional institutions. Number 4, respect for traditional institutions. Revival and promotion of culture. teaching of vernacular in our schools. That's number 6, teaching of vernacular. Establishment of cultural museums. Number 7, establishment of cultural museums. All right, you look at this, you discover that they are the things that the next one has to do with skills. What are the skills that will be necessary? The first one here is the one we know as communication skills. In communication, we all know that it involves language, signs, symbols, and so forth and so on. The next point is skills. In this case, the first point here is communication skills. This involves language, it involves symbols, it involves signs. In fact, how to express what you have in your inner mind, both in songs, in carvings, and in clothes. Take for instance, a woman who is wearing a dark cloth is only communicating that she is mourning either her husband, her child, or whoever. That is that communication skill. Then the second one is this one that we call technology. You have ICT everywhere, and in this, you have your artifacts, you have your idiofacts, all such things. You express these things even in the seats that you sit in, your dress and your music, your kitchen utensils. The technology keeps changing. Lantern was existing before, but today, we don't have lanterns anymore. We have bulbs and the rest of them. That is technology in practice. Now you have the other one, library and the documentary skills. Library and documentary skills. In this sense, what we are looking at is a repository of materials, a repository of things that you can handle so that they won't get into exit. You document them, you keep them in a particular place where you can locate them at the appropriate time. We also have the establishment of museums and archives as number 4. Museums and archives, where you get all these things, you put them together, and you can go there to look at them. For instance, instruments of war or things that are made in the olden days. You store them in the museum and you keep them there for safety and for future reference. Now you have religious practices. Members of a given state or a given society should be allowed to practice their religion in any way, in any form they want, as a way of immortalizing or perpetuating these traditions and cultural ethics. The other one has to do with the storytelling, and that's the last point here, storytelling skills. People talk about stories, people tell proverbs, people, give history of what happened in the past. As a matter of fact, folklores are used to preserve and convey all the traditions and cultural practices from generation to generation. Look at the concept of national consciousness, national integrity, and national unity. And we want to look at them one after another. First of all, national consciousness. This has to do with the awareness of the existence of one's country, one's nation, and a feeling of commitment to that nation, and your ability to fight for the cause and ideals of your nation. When there is national consciousness, one is compelled to exhibit a constant feeling of love, a constant feeling of support, and you're always ready to do something that will make stable your nation or your country. It involves a patriotic attitude that one has, which overrides some personal and ethnic interests, and maybe your obedience to some other interests, but you are concentrated on the existence of your nation. And then that is what we know as national consciousness. In this regard too, you also are aware that you have authorities that guide and lead your nation. So you obey them, the constituted authorities. That will take us to the next point, and that is national integrity. National integrity. This has to do with the exhibition of sound moral principles by a country. When you talk about integrity, you're looking at honesty, you are looking at trustworthiness, you're looking at truthfulness, you're looking at dealings that wouldn't hurt the next person, you're looking at tolerance. All these things count for national integrity. And when you look at them and you have such sound moral in a nation, that nation has national integrity. National integrity preaches equity, it preaches justice, it preaches fairness, and even political equality. Nigeria, for instance, as well as other countries, should have undiluted national integrity to remain respected by other countries of the world. Take, for instance, a situation where you approach an embassy for visa and you are thoroughly checked while others are giving easy access. There is something questionable about the integrity of the country from that individual's country of origin. And we go over to the last point here, and that point is national unity. I mean, national unity. What do we mean here? This is a spirit or a feeling of oneness among all the people of a country or a nation. A team spirit, the spirit that makes people to live together without fighting, without quarreling. You will see cohabitation, harmonious living together without any friction. Take, for instance, Nigeria, that has a diverse culture, diverse religion, multiple language, etc. Do they need national unity? Does Nigeria need national unity despite the diversity in its ethnicity? The answer is yes. National unity fosters peace and progress. Unfortunately, when in 1914 Sir Frederick Lord Lugard amalgamated the southern and northern protectorates of Nigeria, till this moment we have had fragile national unity. That was the reason why the independence that we could have gained in 1953 was delayed for 7 years, that we only gained it 7 years after in 1960. Take also, for instance, what happened within the period of 1967 to 1970, when there was this Nigerian Biafran war that almost tore the country apart. These things cannot, come in a situation or in a society where you have national unity. And so we are trying to say that we have to be united, we have to be a united entity, and then enjoy cohabitation. Then we have to promote national consciousness, integrity, and unity with the following points. We need to teach indigenous languages. We have to give equal opportunity to all Nigerians, and in other ethnic groups, in other countries, the same thing is applicable. We need to enforce the principles of federal character. There has to be public education through the mass media and inculcate values of tolerance, cooperation, and even hospitality. We also need to talk about the teaching of civic education and history in all countries, not just in Nigeria. Then we need to uphold the National Youth Service Corps as obtainable in Nigeria. The unity schools that we have everywhere should be upheld, And then there has to be the promotion of national sports and cultural festivals. The inter-ethnic marriages should continue. And then there has to be establishment of national monuments, such as Federal Character Commission, Federal Civil Service, among the assignment for this lesson to be submitted in 3 days' time. Number one assignment here is, what is citizenship education? Number two, state 6 importance of citizenship education. And number 3, make short notes on the following. A, national consciousness. B, national integrity. And C, national unity. Thank you. God bless you till next time.